Hello friends, welcome or welcome back. I'm Elizabeth, this is Reading Riley, and today I'm starting a reading vlog. Well, technically not starting it, ending it, because I've already read them at this point, but you are starting my journey with me reading new release horror books. Boys will be boys is not okay. Like, we're so past that at this point. Hello, you're ready. You want to say hi? We say hello. I am really angry about this now. I'm angry for these characters. I'm angry for the people in real life that are affected by this. I'm angry. I have thought long and hard about how I would dispose of a dead body. Great first line. And the thoughts that are going through my head are like, I would never even presume to write about something in this world. There are things about this world that, like, even within the Stephen King lore is not like for sure. So how does she know she's gonna write something that's not going to step on the heels of Stephen King? The way they described it, a grotesque 20-page scene, is
very accurate.
Made me feel things and I didn't like it. It's something. It's something. Okay, I cannot wait for you to hear my thoughts about these. This is going to be a spoiler-free vlog, so feel free to watch it till the end if you have not read these yet. We're going to be discussing Mocha. This is by Monika Kim. This is the author of The Eyes Are the Best Part, and in her second book, it's set in Korea. Molka is a Korean term for hidden or miniature spy cameras secretly and illegally installed, often to capture voyeuristic images and videos. Mocha is an abbreviation of Molre Camera, which means a sneaky camera. And she does say, I think it's, yeah, in the author's note, that the word Mocha sneaky camera came from like a prank show, like a hidden camera show type of thing. So it does have these tones that are like lighthearted, but in this case, the way they are being used is anything but. It is disturbing. And this is a real epidemic that's happening, not just in Korea, but everywhere. So we're following this woman, Dahe, and she works in IT, and she's been dating this like really rich guy that he's like the son of an entertainment mogul or something. She also is interacting with someone in her workplace, and these two stories kind of collide in a way. We see her being manipulated by them, and she's getting caught on camera unbeknownst to herself, and we see her reaction to just being fed up with being taken advantage of. This is definitely, you know, one of those good for her type of stories. Next, we have Dead Weight by Hildur Knútsdóttir. This is the author of The Night Guest, which came out last year, I believe. Loved them both. These two women bond over this cat. So we're following Unnur and Asta. Unnur comes home one day and this cat is on her couch, and she's like, where did this come from? She looks on, you know, whatever, Craigslist, Facebook, whatever thing, finds someone missing a cat. As far as the plot goes, it seems like trouble is following Asta, and, you know, we find out how far they're willing to go to help another woman, to help a friend. And this is definitely a girl's girl book. So similar themes as Mocha. Next, we're going to be reading I Know a Place. This is by Nat Cassidy. This is a short story collection. It's quite long, over 500 pages. And surprisingly, a lot of these were adapted from plays that he wrote. He used to be a playwright. Who would have thunk? But totally makes sense to me. So many different genres, like every different subgenre of horror that you can think of is in here. There's like a sci-fi horror, there's puppets, there's creepy child trope, there's serial killers, there's dystopian futures, there's cults and curses. And lastly, we will be reading Headlights by C.J. Leede. This is the author of Maeve Fly, of American Rapture. This is a procedural. We're following an FBI agent who is plagued by this case that has haunted him for years, so much so that he left. And now he's come back to Colorado because these murders are happening again. He is traumatized. He has PTSD from the military. He also has the shine. If you don't know what the shine is, like Stephen King's The Shining, he is sensitive, psychic, or whatever you want to call it. And this is CJ Leede's, as she says, love letter to Stephen King's The Shining. There's so many Stephen King references in here, and I struggled with that for a minute because there are a lot, and I felt a little bit of, is this okay? You'll see when we get to it, but it is about a lot more than you might think. If you enjoy videos like this, if you enjoy my taste in books or the way I review them, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. I appreciate you guys so much. Let's get into this. Already I started I Know a Place by Cassidy, and I started Mocha by Monika Kim. So I'm going to start by updating you on I Know a Place by Cassidy. This includes the story Rest Stop. So this is actually the first story in the book. I really liked it the first time, but I reread this, obviously getting this short story collection. I think I liked it even better the second time. There really is no why though. Like that's the thing. If you need a why, this isn't the place for it. So we're following this musician Abe, and he is driving home on this road trip to go visit his grandmother, I think, because she's sick. On the way, he stops at this rest stop. Chaos ensues. There is a masked man there with a baklava covered in googly eyes. It's just like a terrifying image. There's also a creepy crawly reptile zoo type of thing that is near this that comes into play. There's a lot of bugs in here, creepy crawly slimy things. There's a twist that kind of adds to the lore of this that I think is really interesting and dark. The whole vibe of this is unsettling, and like there's something that is lurking in the shadows. You know what I mean? So that's a really good one. And then I've read 4 other stories in this so far. The first one is Meet Cute Number 1, The Unluckiest Girl. And this one I absolutely loved. This girl walks into a bar and she starts talking to this guy, and she's trying to convince him that she's the unluckiest girl in the world. And then we learn who it is she's actually talking to, which might just confirm her point. Let's just say that. Generation. Okay, this one was really interesting. This one is Contact meets The Handmaid's Tale. It's getting a little bit sci-fi. We're following this OBGYN, Dr. Amanda Edison. Mandy works at this seemingly illegal abortion clinic. We are coming along with her as she is meeting her clients for the day, and it is a couple and they are 8 months pregnant. They're going through this whole thing of like, do you want to abort this child or do you not? And she's like, I have to tell you certain things before you go through with this. And as she's doing that, we're learning like what's going on in this world, and it's terrifying. It's very terrifying. And there's this also like ethical moral dilemma here that obviously has this overarching commentary on abortion and things as well. This is different from anything I've read from Cassidy before, and I would love to see more of his stories going in this direction. Next, we have Nice. Oh my gosh, this one really surprised me. This was like a Christmas themed story, and we're following this little kid, Mitchell. He's 6 years old. He has this hyperfixation with Christmas and with Santa Claus, and so his parents kind of use that to make sure he's behaving well, like throughout the year, not just around Christmas time. But at this moment that this story is happening, we're approaching Christmas. So they're like, oh, Mitchell, you don't want to get on Santa's naughty list. Like, don't do that. And they've kind of taken advantage of this hyperfixation of his. But then the elf on the shelf appears. And it's this elf called Twinklebottom, and nobody sees him except for little Mitchell. And Twinklebottom is trying to convince Mitchell to be naughty. But the thing is, Twinklebottom didn't know who he was messing with. This story is really intense. The Art of What You Want. This one I actually had to listen to a couple times. He tells this old doctor friend who hasn't seen in years that every morning he wakes up and he gets ready to leave for work. He sits at the kitchen table and his wife greets him and tells him, don't forget to pick up your suit. Also, we need a refill for this thing in the kitchen. Love you bunches, bye. She's like, okay, why is that so weird? And he's like, well, my wife died 6 months ago. His wife is essentially haunting him, but it's not all as it seems. This is like a haunting story that becomes something else. And this also is quite gruesome in the end. And the way it ends is very unexpected. I was not expecting that at all. I also read The Lunar Eclipse. I think this one's probably the one that I'm liking the least so far of this bunch, although it's probably the most creative. It's almost told as like a poem, as poetry. And there is guitar music playing in the background that is nondescript and kind of wandering. It's on the audio. I don't know how it's done in the book. I'll have to check it out. But I'm wondering also if that's Nat Cassidy playing guitar on it, because I do know that he plays guitar. There's a red moon every 50 years, and this woman is remembering how she spent this red moon with a man 50 years ago. They had promised to be together 50 years later, but it didn't work out the way she thought. I'm really loving these short stories so far and loving to see this different side of Nat Cassidy. Let's talk about Monika Kim's new book, Molka. Okay, this one, so far, I'm like 30% into this. The vibes are very much that of The Eyes of the Best Part. Like the storytelling, the tone, the way she sets everything up, very similar. And it's almost like a creeping, crawling way. It's like, okay, we're putting the pieces together. And I will say so far at like 30%, maybe 35%, it's just now catching up to the pitch. I'm not sure exactly how much I should tell you about this, but I think it's necessary actually. We're following Daye. She lives with her parents. We find out that her sister, her older sister, died 5 years ago. And she's got a really complicated relationship. Her sister was always the perfect one. She was always the pretty one. And Daye always felt like she couldn't do anything right. She could never live up to her parents' expectations. And now, even after her sister has passed, she feels like her parents wish it had been her instead. Daye works in corporate America of some kind. She's recently started dating this guy, Hyukjun. Turns out he is the son of one of the biggest entertainment moguls in Korea. And so his family is extremely rich, and he takes her out to all these nice meals. He's buying her Louis Vuittons. He is like showing her this world that she never could have imagined. Meanwhile, we're following this other guy at her work. Jun Young works at the same place as Daye. He has been setting up cameras throughout his entire office, in the women's bathrooms, everywhere. He's locked into the security system. He's added his own cameras. He's a tech guy, so he knows how to work all this stuff. He is just disgusting. He's commenting on these women's underwear, what color, what type they're wearing, what their pubic hair is doing. He is off at work. He is a scumbag. He's disgusting. We also get a little bit of his history when we learn that when he was young, he got caught snooping on one of his neighbors while she was changing, and his dad ends up telling him, oh no, it's fine. Boys will be boys. And I think that's a huge theme of this story. Boys will be boys is not okay. Like we're so past that at this point. Hello, you're ready. You want to say hi? We say hello. Hi. The sweet ripping. You're being the sweet ripping. Yeah. So you're seeing how this is being perpetuated. What is giving men the right, or what is making them feel like they have the right to do these things? And it's not just one thing. We're systematically allowing them and empowering them to make these kinds of choices with the culture that we're living within and the structures that we have set in place. Daye is dating Hyukjun. It turns out that they were caught on camera having in a hotel, and it goes all over the internet, and he immediately just abandons her. He just leaves for the States, and she has to sit there and deal with this. She has to be confronted by her friends and family, people in the workplace knowing these things about her, her parents who would be so ashamed. But during all of this, she has also caught the attention of Jun Young at work, and he is becoming very
obsessed with her.
That's kind of where I'm at. But what we see, I think, and what we know is going to happen, this is like a revenge story. This is feminist revenge. This is good for her all the way. So I have not gotten to that part in the story yet, but I think we all know that Daye is going to get her revenge, and it's going to be bloody. And in that way, very similar so far to, not as far as like the lives and the setup and all of that, but just like I said, the tone and how this story is being put together is very similar to The Eyes of the Best Part. I'm really liking it so far. Daye also has a best friend named Bora, and Bora is kind of helping her out through all of this. I will say that names were a little bit hard for me, especially not having the physical book to see how it was spelled. Another reason though why I wanted to get the physical copy of this, so I could like be more certain on the names. I do think I have a grapple with it now, but it's just different. Hyukjun and Jun Young, like they're both Juns. So it's kind of confusing, but I'm with it now. I'm here. I'm gonna keep listening, and I will keep you guys updated. Maybe you want to say goodbye. Anyway, just a sweet boy. Just a sweet boy. Yeah, you're being so cute. Yeah, I know. And it's Denver too. Denver dog. Hey, buddy. Here's my baby boy. Here's my baby boy. And this one. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You're silly. You're silly. She says that her first novel, The Eyes Are the Best Part, was largely a response to the growing pattern of violence against Asian women during the COVID pandemic. This work arose from the rage I felt at seeing women being recorded without their knowledge in public bathrooms, gyms, classrooms, motel rooms, and the compromising videos that appeared on websites for men's pleasure, with perpetrators usually going unpunished. She talks about how there was a scandal in 2019 in Korea, the Burning Sun scandal that dominated the headlines. Journalists discovered a chat room where a number of Korean celebrities had been sharing illicit footage they had been taking of women without their knowledge or consent. So this is actually based off of real things that are happening right now. In many cases, the women were drugged and R-worded. And then she goes on to say that this is not a uniquely Korean problem, that obviously this is happening everywhere. And gosh, I didn't think I had a fear of this before, of finding hidden cameras in a bathroom or public restroom, or even looking for them. I would never even have thought to look for that. But now I'm absolutely aware. I'm going to be checking. Oh gosh, there's one scene in here that gives us everything that we're looking for. Okay, there's one scene in here that is so satisfying and so grotesque. I wanted more of that. Where this was going, it just kind of fell down after that. The very ending of this ended up being lackluster. It didn't leave me feeling satisfied. It left me feeling a little bit like rage baited. I am really angry about this now. I'm angry for these characters. I'm angry for the people in real life that are affected by this. I'm angry, but I'm ultimately left unsatisfied, I feel like, which is hard. Seems kind of harsh to say, but like, other than that one scene where she actually got revenge. But here's the thing. Here's the other thing. This is a revenge story, but it's not exactly as you think. And I don't want to give too much away, but there is a supernatural subplot in this, which I don't think I mentioned before. And therefore, the motivations for this, I think, is questionably revenge. I don't know that, without spoiling it, if it would be considered, because it's like you're not seeing this grow within her. She's affected by an outside source, let's say that. She could have taken this a little bit more psychological in that way, and I probably would have been more on board. As much as I'm tired of the unreliable narrator trope of, is she crazy or is it supernatural? I really wish they would have leaned into the is she crazy on this one and given me more backstory. In fact, there was a way I thought this was going where what could have done that really well, and it didn't even go there. And I feel like there are things left unsaid. There are characters that I want to know about, that what happened to them. I don't know. And ultimately, the very ending left me feeling not happy. And I know I'm not supposed to feel happy when this is done, but I'm saying, how do I explain this? If you're going into a book for the revenge factor, for the unhinged woman factor, for that, you're going into it knowing that you're going to get riled up because you're seeing them put in these positions where it's not fair. We're being shown what's led up to this moment, like what put them here, what misfortunes have they gone through in their life in order to be in this position where they're like on the brink of breaking, right? We see that in these other stories like Maeve Fly, Boy Parts by Eliza Clark, Victorian Psycho by Virginia Fato, A Certain Hunger, Chelsea G. Summers. These are all really good examples of that. I wanted more internal stuff that I didn't really get from her. And I also wanted more, like, I hate to say it, but like I wanted more gore. I wanted more satisfaction in the end. I expect that once we get up here and once she finally cracks, it's just gonna be insane. And it was, trust me, like that one scene that that I don't want to say, but I want to say, but oh my gosh, that was insane. But that said, I am giving this 3.5 stars. Look up the trigger warnings, look up the content warnings if you're someone who typically needs that, because there's a lot in here. Paul Tremblay says, Molka is a harrowing, ghastly, page-turning revenge tale that unflinchingly shines a bright light on the evil of an all-too-real, misogynistic, uniquely 21st century horror, which I feel like that perfectly describes it. And then Erica LaRocca says, dangerous, penetrating, and utterly relentless. Interesting. Nice choice of words there. Eric LaRocca. First, I want to talk to you about Deadweight by Hildur Knútsdóttir. Okay, this is Nordic noir. This is a translated work. It's also a novella. It's 160 pages, super short. This is from the author of The Night Guest, which I read, I think, last year or the year before. Sorry, it's so shiny. And I gave them both 4 stars. I'm really liking this author's voice. I like that it's so concise and to the point. Her stories are both very short and quick to get through. And they also have they leave an impact on you. So this one I should have mentioned yesterday when I was talking about stories about revenge, because this fits right in there with them. This fits in there with A Certain Hunger, with Maeve Fly, because it's all about female rage, revenge, yes. But also, the thing that brought me the most joy out of this story was the friendships and the women supporting women. Our 2 main characters are Una and Ásta. Una is 33. She works in the financial district of Reykjavik. She's a business analyst. She's also got daddy issues. She's also dating a married man. She's got a nice place. She's got nice things, a nice apartment, but she keeps her distance from people and she doesn't let herself get vulnerable. And then we have Ásta. They meet because Ásta's cat, Ayo, somehow snuck into Una's house. Una went online to see if there were any missing cats in the neighborhood, and of course she found Ásta. Ásta comes to collect her cat, and they end up in this co-parenting situation with this cat. Ásta, on the other hand, is very different. She is very emotional. She wears her heart on her sleeve, and especially even when she comes and finds her cat, she just has this huge emotional breakdown, and she's just so happy to have found her. At one point, Una is speaking of Ásta, and this made me really relate to Ásta in this way, because I feel like people look at me this way too. She says, how can she walk around so exposed with an opening into her soul and allow others to look in? Does she feel no shame? And the answer is no. For someone who does relate to that feeling, no. I feel no shame. I'm sure she feels no shame, and she shouldn't. There is nothing wrong with being authentic and being vulnerable yourself. Although I will say that that specific characteristic does leave one with that trait vulnerable to people who are looking to manipulate that. And it can be easily manipulated, so you have to have your guard up, unfortunately. And this story is very similar in this situation. Ásta is in a relationship that is maybe not so great. I don't want to give too much away. Oh, I do want to tell you the first line of this story though, because I thought it was a really great first line. And this is in the prologue. I have thought long and hard about how I would dispose of a dead body. Great first line. And if that gives you any indication of where the story is going, then feel free to go there in your brain, because you're probably right. If you do enjoy revenge stories and unhinged women stories, I do think you would enjoy this one, although this one feels more cathartic to me. Now, moving on to I Know a Place by Cassidy. I read the two of the longer stories in here, aside from Rest Stop, are right in the middle. The first one's called Laugh Lines, and what I love about this one is that it's entirely written in email correspondence. I love a mixed media story. It just gets me every time. We're following Missy. We're following her correspondence with her bio dad, who she has just met or discovered, and again with her and her best friend / coworker. Missy's dad is Robert Waybourne, and you can tell by their notes that they're just connecting. He's doing an awesome job of giving you little bits of information about each of these people through just their side of the story, their email. And we come to learn that Missy is going to England, and she's going to stay at this castle that is the Waybourne family castle. So she's never met her dad yet, but he's told her about this, and I don't know if he's paid for her to go check it out or if she's just decided to go check it out. But she's going to this town, and she's going to learn so much about her history and her family, things that she never knew about herself. And so she's emailing back and forth with her dad. He supposedly has arranged for her to get this private tour of the castle. And she goes in there, and it's really weird. Like, there's all these tapestries that are Kind of funny, kind of silly, like jester type stuff. But then some are like, they just start getting a little bit weirder and weirder. And we come to learn, or she comes to learn, that the history of her family is a little bit more complicated than she understood it to be. And they're saying, yes, we knew you were a Wayborn because we can tell by your laugh lines, because your people laugh a lot. I don't think I want to say too much more about this one. I'm giving it 4 stars. I did enjoy it. It feels like an unraveling of sanity almost, and it goes in a direction that is similar to that of Rest Stop. This next one is called Run for Your Life. And at first I didn't think I was going to like this one because I'm like, well, hasn't that been done? Like, it's kind of giving 11/22/63 by Stephen King, where this man goes into his friend's diner and he finds a porthole into the past. So that's the same in this story, except this guy that we're following is from South Dakota. We get a little bit of backstory from his childhood, and it just seems like he's been very lonely and he grew up not very wealthy, and so he only had access to the library, and he found this 5-disc set of the Beatles stuff when he was younger and became hyperfixated on the Beatles to the point where he could play every instrument. He knew every song, every refrain, how to play it, how to record it, all the things, like next level obsession. He's trying to make it as a musician, and he's working in cover bands because he can play all of these instruments. You know, it's easy for him to get gigs because different bands will use him for whatever they happen to need in that moment. And having been through that lifestyle and having been in the music scene, I totally understand why Nat Cassidy is even wanting to write something like this. Even though he's 23, he's starting to feel like he's not good enough. And like, he's seeing this vision of his future play out in front of him, and it's sad. He's looking at all these like older musicians around him that are still playing the same gigs over and over and again. So he needs a little pick-me-up. He needs to be inspired. This guy who works at one of the gigs that they played, he's like, come here, I'm going to show you something. He's like, I have this thing and it's a secret. You can't tell anyone, but I guarantee you this is going to make you have faith and it's going to bring you back. And so he's like, okay. And so he does this like little ritual. He makes him like cut his thumb and put some blood in this pool of water, and then he sticks his head in and he's transported back to 1968 or something, probably before that, England. And he is at the very spot and the very moment that Paul McCartney and John Lennon are introduced. And he comes back and he's like, wow, that's so amazing. And then he makes a choice to murder the man who sent him there, put his entire body's worth of blood in there, and he's hoping that means he can stay in there forever. He continues to try and take over the lives of the Beatles. He's writing their songs. He makes sure they don't meet. But like 11/22/63, the past starts pushing back. The changes that he is making him and the Beatles go a little bit insane. The past is fighting him. Really interesting story. And it did, at the beginning, like I said, sound kind of like, oh, but that's already been done. But by the end of it, and this was a longer one, 60 pages, where it goes, I really liked. And where it goes, I felt like was original and unique. And I ended up really liking this story. So that's where we're at now. I've got this much left in this book, and I think I'm going to start Headlights by C.J. Leede soon too. So I'll check back in with you guys later. Talk to you about something because I am having internal struggles with C.J. Leede's Headlights. I guess I kind of want to talk it out. I read the first chapter or two of Headlights by C.J. Leede, and immediately I understand the comparison for this book to The Shining. And immediately I'm struggling with it. We are being introduced to our main character, Daniel Stansfield. This is being done so through a flashback. We're seeing him when he was a little boy with his mom on the run from his dad. We learn in this chapter, or the first few pages, whatever it is, that his real name is not Daniel, but his real name is Calvin, after his father. But mom doesn't like that name because obviously dad's not so great. And she calls him Danny because, like her favorite book that she carries around with her everywhere they go, she thinks her son, little Daniel Stansfield, darn it, has the shine. And so my first reaction to that and I'm not proud of this, but my first reaction is to gatekeep The Shining. How dare she? Who does she think she is? I'm very familiar with the world of The Shining. I love this world. And the thoughts that are going through my head are like, I would never even presume to write about something in this world. And there are things about this world that, like, even within the Stephen King lore is not, like, for sure. So how does she know she's going to write something that's not going to step on the heels of Stephen King? And also, if his mom carries around the book, The Shining, then it's technically not in the world of The Shining, but out in, like, the next dimensional world, a world that is like ours, in which the book The Shining was written, but in which also the shine is real, okay? Which I guess you could say is our world if you want to take that route, but you can't say it's the world of The Shining. Anyway, so I immediately stopped. Slightly before this, I realized that there was a new episode of Talking Scared that had been released. This is a podcast that I listened to hosted by Neil McRobert. He had just released a new episode with CJ Leede, number 282, if you're curious, CJ Leede and Peeling Back the Skin of the World, in which she's talking about her new book, Headlights, like I said, that just came out. I realized that I have kind of put CJ Leede into this box for myself. So I'm thinking, why am I gatekeeping this from her? Like, who am I, first of all, to even say that? It's not like I'm even like the #1 Stephen King fan. Of course, I really love Stephen King, but I haven't read all of his books like some of these people out here have. Like some of these people who literally own every book in his collection, my aunt being one of them. So I'm like, who am I to gatekeep Stephen King from her? If I could do that, would I? And am I just like jealous of her confidence? Literally, from woman to woman, what I should be saying is, yes, queen. Like, get it. And when I listened to her on the podcast, this is the first time I've ever heard an interview with her. So I really guess I was doing a lot of assuming about what I thought about her. This is her, by the way. I'm trying to be very honest about how I felt about this. She does say on the podcast that this is her love letter to Stephen King. This is her love letter to The Shining. So I'm like, okay, now I can look at it from that perspective. Like, she wants to pay homage. Then that kind of allowed me to like be less of a bitch about it. Excuse me for my language, but like, we are incentivized to put up these walls, especially from other women. We're incentivized culturally to have that reaction. Like, how dare she? Because I feel like I couldn't get away with it, or I couldn't do it myself. So why did she get to? That's not okay. Shut up. I still do kind of feel like there's some parts that are so similar to The Shining. And it's just like, how do you make sure you get that lore correct? You know, like Danny sees shadows and he has this traumatic past. He's a veteran. He has PTSD. In Shining #2, Danny is grown up. And very similarly, he's been through this trauma and he has turned to alcohol, which our Danny in this case also did. I had a hard time when I first read that book dealing with the fact that Danny is no longer innocent. He's no longer this little boy that was in The Shining. He's now grown up. He's got his own demons. He's got, he's made decisions that have altered people's lives around him for the worse. He's flawed. He's human. So that was hard enough for me. And now this character, I'm like putting all of that onto now because of this immediate and direct comparison. So I'm just like, I don't know. I guess I'm just ruminating and trying to like figure out why it's making me feel this way, or like how it's making me feel, because it's very complicated emotions. That being said, the whole podcast, Talking Scared, that I listened to with CJ Leede is spoiler free. There were some things that I heard from them that I am looking forward to now. For instance, there's a 20-page long grotesque scene, which involves something to do with a twist here. And apparently it's not actually about werewolves, much like Nat Cassidy's last book. So I'm like, okay, is the twist kind of similar to that? Like, there's so much going on here that I don't yet understand. We learned that 6 years ago, there was a series of killings, 8 dead victims and 8 alive victims. So with each killing, there's 2 victims. One is the live victim. This is the person who wakes up, doesn't know where they are, and they are wearing like a hood or a robe, the skin of another human body. And somehow it's being assumed that the victim that lived is the one that also did the killing and the skinning, I guess. but I don't know why they're assuming that yet. Also, each of these live victims has a hair tied around their tongue, and this hair doesn't match any of the other victims, but all of the victims have the same person's hair tied on their tongue. So we know these are all connected in that way by that one person with brown hair. The live victims, the victim who supposedly killed the other victim unconsciously, they're calling them drifters. Also, it seems like there is something supernatural going on, because in each case where there should have been dash cam footage or some kind of video recording in the vicinity of what happened, the video footage glitched out, just glitched, and none of that stayed. It was just gone. But apparently in the first 8 killings, after they skinned the victims, they then ate them and cannibalized them. But in these new ones, that didn't happen. Okay, so these are just the facts I'm getting. I don't know how these are all going to come together. What did I write? Silence of the Lamb. Oh, we cover what we see. We also meet Daniel's ex-wife, Josie, and they have been apart for the last 4 years. She is the one that got away. They came up in Quantico together. They both work for the FBI. This is our introduction to Josie. He says, I roll down the window. I know who it is before she bends down. Droplets dripping from her hair, catching her eyelashes on her lips. It hits like a punch to the chest. Even now I can barely breathe looking at her. Wanted to make me wait, did you? She looks no different than she did when I left. Still way too pretty for this job. Still way too certain of herself for anyone to really feel comfortable around her. This relationship with Josie and Danny is also giving very much Sarah Linton and Jeffrey from Grant County. That's a Karen Slaughter reference from her Grant County series, starting with Blindsided. We broke up, but we used to be together. It's the one that got away. But we don't function together because of this thing. I can't have her see me as weak, kind of a deal. It's a very complicated, flawed relationship, but I'm seeing a lot of similarities there. Oh, the happy inn. Okay, this is also very Stephen King adjacent. This story that we come in at on the very first scene where Daniel's young, he's with his mom, their father's catching up to them. They're staying at the Happy Inn and the logo is a clown. That has to be an It reference, right? It's actually really smart of her because she describes the carpet in there and it's got these like rusty orange and yellow colors. She's eliciting those same tones, those same atmosphere as The Shining. And this Happy Inn definitely seems like one of those places that stands out in the story. I will say the writing style is a little bit harder for me to keep up with. It's very abrupt. It's almost like stream of consciousness. And I like it. I feel like it's very creative, but it's taking me out of the story pretty often. And so I feel like that's why I'm kind of having to go back and like really sink in, like, what is she really saying with this sentence and this sentence? So our main character starts in Utah. He's been in Utah the last 4 years, and then he's moving back to Colorado to deal with this case. Page 13, this is right when his ex-boss is showing up at his house and knocks on the door. He says, I hear someone swear on the other side. I slowly step over and open it. I'm assaulted by a brisk, bright morning, the kind that nearly blinds you with the brilliance of other people's lives. Utah sun, Mormon God light. It's very like descriptive, but it's also like Mormon God light, like the light is different for a Mormon God. I like that, but it's like I have to let it sink in to really appreciate it and understand it. And she's also given me a lot of information very quickly. Like everything that I've talked to you about since I started this update was in the first 24 pages. Like there is not a lot of room to rest in here yet. I'm hoping it all comes in together in a way that's like, whoa, you know, like blows my mind. We'll see. So yeah, I'm trying to call out my own biases and not hold this against her for putting it in the same world as Stephen King's The Shining, and just be open to that. I'm just trying to allow myself to be open to this story. I do like a procedural. I love a Stephen King movie. I don't know what Longlegs is. Should I watch that? Should I watch it and try to figure out what the connection is? Because I don't even know what that means. I think that's got Rose Byrne though, right? And I like her. Anyway, so I'll probably be doing stuff around the house and updating you guys on my reading as I go. I really just wanted to get that first initial thing out of the way of like this like weird inner turmoil that I'm having. Do you think I'm being unfair? And that's fine if you do too, but I am trying to be honest about how I feel about it, because I feel like a lot of us have these gut reactions, and I feel like we cannot move past that without acknowledging it. So I am trying to like just put that out there and be vulnerable, I guess. Let me get back to it, and I'll catch up with y'all later. Back with an update for Headlights by C.J. Leede. I am really liking this. I should say that. I am really enjoying this. It's very genre bending. I think like there are moments where I'm like, is this sci-fi? And there are moments where I'm like, is it climate fiction? Is it horror? Is it police procedural? It's so many different things in one book. Tonally, it's definitely giving Stephen King, but also it's reminding me of this one, When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy, not because they both have a wolf on the cover. This one's also very genre bending, and I think both of these authors are highly influenced by Stephen King, and so that could have something to do with that, obviously. I have a lot of theories. This is requiring my attention, and I actually have been listening to it on audio and then going back and rereading it physically. I think I know why I was having a hard time earlier with the writing style, because I was mostly just listening to the audiobook. When I opened up the physical book, it became so much more clear what is happening because of the way she writes. His inner thoughts are in italics and his outer thoughts in spoken words are not italicized. There's really no way to convey that in the audiobook, and it's nothing to do with the audio narrator. He's great. What is his name? And I guess C.J. Leede personally picked this narrator. She was like, I really like this guy. I don't know if we're gonna be able to get him, but can we try? And she did. His name's Andrew Eden, or Andrew Iden. And he's so good. But it's very hard to follow with just the audiobook because of all of the italicized spaces. I do think this one's more consumable physically, if that's an option for you. But like I said, the audio is still very good, and the audio narrator I really like as well. But I wish we as audiobook readers could come up with some kind of system that we can indicate different things happening on the page through audio. Like if it's italicized, there's some kind of filter on the voice or something like that. And if that goes, like if every audio maker, every audiobook director or narrator knew these things, then like it would become something that everyone would generally come to understand, like a language of audiobooks. Danny, our main character, he is like, we're dealing with this trope of whether or not he's an unreliable narrator because he doesn't understand himself. Ultimately, it is refreshing to see that a man is being used for this, is it supernatural or is it psychosis trope? But it is very clear that she's leaning into the supernatural. This whole book is very much exploring everything that is supernatural. What is a cryptid? What is a ghost? What are these things? And is it real? And I still don't know at this point like where it's going. I guess I should tell you I'm about 60% into the book now. But Danny has been gaslit by psychologists and authority figures his entire life. They're excusing his symptoms as sleep disorders caused by his PTS or PTSD. She calls it PTS in this book. I wonder if that's just Daniel's way of saying it, or if that's like what they call it now. Is it just PTS and there's no disorder, PTSD? But they're saying, oh, well, if you have a sleep disorder, that could be caused by your PTSD from being a veteran, and this could be caused from your childhood trauma. Obviously, he has a lot of childhood trauma, and they're like, this makes sense. You can see hallucinations. Sometimes this happens to people, like, it's fine, but it's not real. Everything in his life has been traumatic, essentially. So they're like, this is just a side effect of that. And I almost have a hard time believing that he doesn't believe it's real, but I think he truly does not believe that his shine is real, and he's struggling with this for a lot of this story. I still have not reached this 20-page grotesque scene that I'm hearing about, so I'll definitely let you know when I get to that. So Danny gets paired up with Nat Tillman, and I also wonder if Nat is kind of a Easter egg for Nat Cassidy, possibly. So Nat is Josie's live-in boyfriend. He's also FBI. He's a deadhead. He's into the Grateful Dead. He's kind of a hippie. He's very outdoorsy. Nat's really into the cryptids. He's really into the UFO talk. Very Colorado. He's very like, I like to hike and climb, and I can't have a beer because I'll go wild. He's kind of the comic relief a little bit here because he gets partnered up as an FBI agent with Danny, and they end up having to work together. And can you imagine just trying to like solve this case that has haunted you your whole life, and you get paired up having to work with the man that came in and stole your life, your home, your wife? Like, he hates him. He has so much disdain for Nat, and it's actually coming across as pretty hilarious. There's also this weird wolf reintroduction initiative, and this is where we come in talking about the like climate fiction type stuff. She goes into a lot about how the wolves affect the ecosystem, and they're trying to reintroduce wolves to strengthen the ecosystem, right? Each of these animals relies on the next one, and it starts with the wolf. He's the apex predator. And in that way, it reminds me of this one. Oh my gosh, all of these books have wolves on them. Wait, this one technically doesn't have one on the cover, but it has the word wolf. I just put that together. Wow, wolf books. These are all great books too. So if you want a wolf book, there you go. Well, so far, I haven't finished this one yet, like I said. There's also this chat room, like this like Reddit forum that they're following that is called Drifters. What is it called? Drifters Seeking the Truth. We're following these characters in this chat room that seem to know what's going on with these murders as well. So that's all interconnected. There's a lot of women in authoritative roles, which I'm not surprised by. Hello, this is CJ Lee. I love that. And they're all unique and individual. One of the female FBI agents has a disability as well. She has a prosthetic leg. The lady that does the forensics, Daphne, she's definitely giving that one character from Criminal Minds or CSI or both. Yeah, both. That character. This is Daphne. She's kind of an oddball. She's a little strange. And then oh yeah, that's why I want to bring her up, because she says to Danny, like, I don't know if Josie was the one for you. She's like, I think honestly her and Tillman are like really great together. Obviously, like certain things in a procedural happen a certain way, and that's what I'm expecting with this. But I also cannot, this is not just a procedural, it's so many other things. And so I know I shouldn't expect that, but we'll see. Towards the middle of the book, when we start to understand what's going on, I really did start feeling like the heebie-jeebies, like very creepy, very scary ideas, to me anyway, of this supernatural thing, of whatever it is. That does freak me out a little bit. It really makes me want to go to Colorado too, because of the way she's describing it, the way there's so much mystery around it with like, oh, are there cryptids? Is it Bigfoot? Is it a UFO? Like, what's going on? Nobody knows, but they're all open to this idea that we don't know everything. And it's very much giving Fox Mulder in that way. I have made a complete 180. I'm not mad at CJ Leede for doing this anymore. In fact, I'm very grateful that she's doing it because I'm so much enjoying this book and I'm so motivated to like figure this out. I keep, the pacing is going really fast for me, or it feels fast because I'm so obsessed about being meticulous. Like, I don't want this book to outsmart me. I'm like, no, I will figure it out first, which is why I'm taking such good notes, but I probably won't. I still haven't. I feel like it's about to be revealed in the place where I'm at, so looking forward to that. Fingers crossed. I'm really hoping I'm going to like the way this all pans out, because this could be a 5-star book. This is definitely giving 5-star energy right now. I'm going to get back to you after I finish it, probably, and we'll see how it goes. I am back to talk about everything. I finished both of these and I have a lot of thoughts. I want to start with I Know a Place. So I don't think I mentioned at the beginning of this, but there is an introduction by Stephen King. Now, like, reading these two together obviously makes so much sense because Stephen King also mentions the Talking Scared podcast in here. of which Nat Cassidy is a guest on all the time, which is the same one that was interviewing CJ Leede. It's all like, they're all connected. Everything is connected. Let's start with I Know a Place. I'm giving this one 4 stars for the entire collection. I thought it was really inventive, and I love it when we start blending genres, which is what both of these books are doing and both of these authors are doing so well. There were several 5-star stories in here for me, mostly 4-star and then some 3.5 and 1 3-star. That's the lowest rating I gave it. I do think the first half was stronger, but one thing that's really cool about this is that Nat Cassidy also at the very end of the book kind of gives you story notes about each of these individual stories and talks about them. He's doing so many creative things in here. And one thing I learned about Nat Cassidy is that he, for a long time, was a horror playwright. Hello, this makes so much sense. I grew up in musical theater. I love the theater, nothing better. Nat Cassidy never fails to give us more information. It's almost as if I feel like it comes from a place of, because I experienced this too, of like not wanting to be misunderstood. So I'm going to give you so much information, not in necessarily his story writing, but in the fact that he always has like an author's note or something to follow up and say, hey, 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 just in case you were thinking this, not this. And I totally understand that impulse. And actually, as someone who does have that impulse, I enjoy it so much more, getting that little bit of extra stuff about the author, getting to know like how I relate to them on a different level and what has inspired these stories. I think it's really interesting. And I love that he always includes something in his books just to give a little bit more of himself. It's like a vulnerability. It's an extension of trust to his readers, with his readers. So yeah, I appreciate that. Anyway, the last one we talked about, Run for Your Life, the Beatles ones, I think I might have actually cut it out, but I was like, of course Nat Cassidy is a big Beatles fan. And obviously this is a parasocial relationship here. I don't actually know him. I cut that out because I was like, I shouldn't make those assumptions, but he does say in the end, he's like, yes, I'm a massive Beatles fan. Anyway, he called that story his evil version of Yesterday. And I don't think I brought it up, but there was either a series or a film that also kind of had this idea. And he says he had the idea first. But I want to reiterate on his behalf and my own that it goes totally differently. And it does, like, even though it's based on this thing that seems like it's been done, it is very original. And I think I mentioned that before I even knew his thoughts about it. Jubilee Juncture, this one apparently is an adaptation from a play that he wrote as well. We're following these 2 guys and they are part of this Christian educational puppeteering group. There's a lot of shocking body horror at the end of this, but I do feel like this one is taking a critical look at hypocrisy in Christianity. And I feel like it's a point well made. Into the life of things. A woman is found dead in the stairwell in a psych ward. That's right. And the nurse on duty tells the detectives about this woman's story. So it's kind of a story taking place in the present tense. And then the nurse is telling them about her life before when she was in a yoga cult. And this one definitely gets paranormal and supernatural, and it's very unique and interesting. And then meet cute number 2, the scariest thing. Oh, I really liked this one. We're following these 2 characters and they're meeting up on a first date, and we get to know them through the conversation that they're having. Apparently they met up on a subreddit, like a horror manga subreddit, Ginu Ito. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, manga fans. They decided to meet up in person. And as we follow their conversation, Nat says he's trying to show us like the most doomed romance. The more you learn, the worse it gets. I really liked this one. I won't give you too much on that. And then A Fruiting Body. This is the very last one, also from a play in which this is like actually interactive. I thought it was really cool. It's interactive. There is like the audiobook rendition obviously is really great, but he's very clear that this is their version of it, but like it has been performed before. This was one of his plays that he wrote, and it's meant to be like you read it passing off like every other word to each person, and it really sounds upsetting. It sounds unsettling when it happens like that, but this one is about a fungus, and it's also interesting. This whole collection is very unique. It's also very Nat Cassidy. If you liked Mary, if you liked When the Wolf Comes Home, if you like Nat Cassidy, you're gonna like this. So pick it up. And then, okay, moving on to Headlights. finish this book, gotta start with the sex scene. Okay, I gotta just give you guys the tea. The way they described it, a grotesque 20-page sex scene is
very accurate.
I went through so many emotions reading that scene. Oh my gosh. It made me feel things and I didn't like it. I want to give a content warning for this, but I don't know how without giving it away. Whew. Oh my gosh. Things did not go the way I thought they were going to go. Wow. 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 This story went a lot of places and did a lot of things. Okay. There was a point where I was like, there's no way she's going to be able to make this make sense. There's no way that this comes together in a satisfactory way for me. And surprisingly, it did. Like, aside from like a few little things, yeah, it adds up. Like, it makes sense. And I love that. And I really hope this isn't, my hair's not making my mic do bad things. Testing out a new mic level right now, so hopefully this fixes the little pops and stuff that y'all have been hearing, so I apologize for that. I'm working on it, trying to get better. How? I haven't even I can't give you that either. See, I don't want to give anything away. I want you all to be able to experience this the way I did. Let's just say that, like, I feel like this scene will go down in horror history. There is no way you can read this and forget about it. It's something. It's something. Okay. I don't know how to explain it. It is out of this world. It is insane. I don't know, y'all. It's this like connection between these two people. I don't want to give that away either. That goes beyond just the body and to like a spiritual place, but at the same time, no, I can't. See, I can't. It's very disturbing. Okay, y'all. I don't want to make it sound like it's, because it is that thing, but it's also another thing. And it's also really fucked up. Like, so fucked up. I don't know how else to say it. Just read it, I guess. Just read it. I don't know. I can't give it away. Where this ended made me feel like there might be a sequel to this, perhaps. Because all of our questions, like the supernatural stuff, is quote unquote explained. Or at least like it's fair in the story, as Annie Wilkes would say. It's fair. But the storyline, like the plot line, is left a little bit open. We don't really know what's going on with certain characters. So yeah, I would definitely read a second book if this does have a sequel. I'm so glad I got past my jealousy, I guess it was, because I really did enjoy being in the world of The Shining again. And honestly, like, in so many ways, it is our world. Like, it just depends on, like, I've been getting into so much stuff lately about consciousness. Y'all know I've been into this, but like consciousness being fundamental, and what that implies. And it's almost like it makes Stephen King's worlds explainable in real life. Because some people, I think, are more sensitive. I think there are just people who can get to a certain space and they are more sensitive than everyone else. And I think there is, even though I'm not a believer in quote unquote religion, I don't know. I mean, maybe I sound like a Scientologist right now, but I'm just saying, like, if there is like a bigger consciousness, maybe like maybe some people do have the shine. Maybe this is real life. Just, I don't know. Maybe I sound crazy. So I read 4 books and it took me a long time, y'all. It is now like the end of June. And I know I started this at the beginning of June. This is like a month-long process. I just can't do it anymore like the kids do, y'all. We read all 4 of these books and they were so good. Okay, so I think, let me see what my final ratings were. We didn't get a 5-star. We didn't get a 5-star. I'm not giving this 5-star. And I guess I should explain myself for that. There wasn't enough room to breathe in here. I feel like it just kept going and going and going and pushing and pushing and pushing. And it was carrying the plot forward and it was so smartly thought out. But the ending, even though, like I said, things kind of made sense, it was fair, it wasn't like this one as satisfying as I wanted it to be, although this one was more satisfying than Mocha. I feel like some people are going to be disappointed by that in Mocha. So it's 4 star. It's solid. I think I've given every one of her books 4 stars. Solid, solid, solid. For dead weight, I also ended on 4 stars with this one. These both being 4 stars, it's like, it's such a different thing that I'm judging to, because this is a novella. It's very short. I'm judging it based on how it gets to the point and how it makes me feel in such little amount of time. How invested can I get to these characters? Whereas this one is like full world building going on, so many more characters. Like there's just so much happening. So I understand, like, it kind of feels like unfair, but like, yeah, these are both solid 4 stars. And that's just what it is. Also, I know a place 4 stars. And again, like, I feel so lucky to have read so many good books in this vlog, but also like I picked like my favorite authors. So it's like, hello, of course I'm gonna like these. But this one, again, I'm judging this differently because this is a short story collection. So I'm kind of having to come up with a feeling about all of these put together. It's a generalization. It's the mean, not the median. I don't know, I'm bad at math. And Molka, we're giving 3.5 stars. Again, I still really love this author. This was not a bad book. I really enjoyed this. But for as much of the buildup that we had, it left me very frustrated. It left me feeling rage baited. I did not get the satisfaction that I wanted from this. I'm just wondering how other people are going to, if other people feel that way too, or if it's like, is it just me? I don't know. If y'all have read this, let me know if you felt that way. As far as the character building, getting you to really sympathize with these characters, she's so good at that. Also, I'm getting this side of Korean culture that I otherwise would not get. Like, I'm learning about this community even more, and it doesn't feel like I'm disconnected from it. Like, I feel like I know them, like I genuinely know these characters. But yeah, I just like, I feel like the eyes are the best part was just more satisfying. Still 3.5 stars. I'm gonna round it up to 4 on Goodreads, like I always do. I will always round up on Goodreads just because I feel like it's the fair thing to do. I'm autistic, y'all. Things have to be fair. All right, so I'm gonna have to wrap it up here, but thank you guys so much for hanging out with me to the end of this. If you are still here, like, you're number one. You're the best. Because I know this was a long one. I've been editing it as I've been making it. If you are still watching this, give me a little devil emoji in the comments, and so I can send you my love, because I really do appreciate you. And yeah, let me know if you've read these, if you're wanting to pick these up now. If you want to talk spoilers, please put spoilers, do a bunch of dots or stars or something, go down a bunch of lines so that no one unintentionally sees your comment. But I love to talk spoilers in the comments, so yeah, I'm here for that. And if you are still here, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'm really looking forward to growing this channel with you and finding more people like us that like the weird, the scary, the psychological. So hopefully I'll see you again soon. Don't forget that life is short, so read Riley. Cheers and goodbye.